Hi everyone, it's Len Stanley again, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing my third speed build video, which is an updated Spanish-inspired build. I say it's updated because it's not your typical traditional Spanish home. It's a little bit more modern in some ways. So in this build, I wanted to have a greenhouse, and I originally thought about putting it separate from the home and being off to the side a little bit, but then I thought, why don't I do something else? Why don't I make it the upstairs of the home itself? So it's kind of like a built-in feature, and I was really kind of happy with the way that ended up turning out. I didn't limit my pack usage in this particular build. So this one, I used a lot of Strangerville and Jungle Adventure windows. I thought that they were really nice. And the doors I use are also from Strangerville. The windows that I used from Jungle Adventure are the ones with the little squares and the designs in them. And next to those windows, the clear, tall windows, are actually from Island Living, which is our newest expansion and part of why I was inspired to start making these YouTube videos. Although I had been considering it for some time because I'd been watching a lot of speed builds, and I know that building is one of the most fun things for me to do in The Sims, and I feel like when I look at a lot of my builds, I'm really proud of how well they turn out, and so I figured why not share it with people. So that's what I'm doing. This is also the first build that I did after the new release of some items in the debug menu, which gave us, if you have all of the packs, over 1,000 new items to work with if you put in the cheat bb.live edit objects after doing the bb.show hidden objects cheat. Almost all of my builds, I recommend if you're going to download them to use the move objects cheat because I always use it. And for anyone who doesn't know how cheats work, you press Control, Shift, and C at the same time, and a little window will come up at the top of your screen, which is where you'll type in the cheat. And the move objects cheat is bb.moveobjects with no spaces. Sorry, I had to stop recording for a moment because my cat decided to start meowing for attentions, and now he's just chilling on my lap. So if you hear him, I apologize. He heard me talking to my computer and was intrigued. So I kind of struggled with the exterior of this build for quite some time actually, because I really wanted it to be a little more interesting than just a rectangle. So I created a little bump out on the front, which is where the bedroom ends up being. I also really had a lot of fun playing with the different wall types to use in this build. I wanted the outdoor to match the indoor so that it was more like those are just the way the walls are built. The only two I used that were not base game were the prefab stone slab, which is the brick looking one from the bowling stuff pack, and the vertical clapboard from Outdoor Retreat. And that one ends up being on the interior around the bedroom. I liked incorporating this pillar throughout the entire build because I felt like it brought the windows that I used from Jungle Adventure into the whole build. Like the pattern on them is kind of similar, and I thought that really tied it all together. And it takes me a while to figure out the floor plan of this build. I wasn't entirely certain what I wanted to do with all of it. I knew where I wanted the bathroom and where I wanted the bedroom, and kind of had an idea of what I was going to do with the entryway, but the rest of the build was kind of like, I don't know, I was a little confused, and then I had to figure out where to put the stairs because for a minute I forgot I needed to fit those in. And then once I figured that out, it kind of complicated things for me. So I end up having this kind of like large hallway that leads to the bathroom, and I used a fence, the pillars, and the spandrels to kind of create a separation, but still keeping this sort of open floor plan feel. I didn't want it to feel claustrophobic, and I feel like I managed to avoid that in a creative and decorative way. So when we get to the furnishing, I decided to do something a little bit different in this one, and I'm kind of testing it out. I think that I liked it a lot better. Instead of on screen placing everything and searching through the menus and having all of that extra sort of work with my fussing and fiddling with different objects and things where they were placed or what color I wanted, I kind of placed them down in increments. I would do a whole bunch at once, and then I would press the back button a bunch of times, like the undo button, and then I would just record and redo so that you just kind of saw the action and not necessarily me performing the action. So let me know what you think of that in the comments or through your feedback to me so that I can either try not to use it or try to incorporate it more in my builds, because I felt like it really helped with the footage and the amount that I had to speed it up or edit it out. I had far less to do because a lot of it was already pretty sped up, and a lot of the mistakes and misplacements are either really quick and like you can see them move, or they just aren't there because I chose not to record them. So I guess the funny part about how I ended up doing this is I accidentally forgot to record placing a few items, like a lot of items, and then I was like, oh no, I don't want to have to try and do that all over again, so I just pressed undo and redo, and then voila, I didn't have to redo it again. As you can see, it's kind of allowed me to keep in the landscaping without feeling like it took up way too much of the video or the time, because I really wanted this really cute desert garden area in the front. So the foyer area is one of my favorite parts of the interior of this build. I just thought it was really nice and sort of cozy that you would just like walk into a dining table. So if they wanted to have a small dinner party, they could just have their friends over and not have to show them around the whole house if they didn't really want to. But they could still see because it's not like a closed off room, so it still felt open and inviting. The kitchen kind of gave me a little bit of trouble. I have an accent table at the end of the counters, and I kept placing items on them, but for some reason throughout the build they just kept disappearing, so I had to keep replacing them, and it was like kind of frustrating. I do think the problem is resolved, so you should still have the items there when you download it from the gallery. I really liked the addition of an island and a dividing wall for the kitchen and the living room, because that gave me a place to put the TV without taking away from the open floor plan I had in mind. I felt like yellow, orange, and red were really good colors to use to bring some color to the build without stepping out of the color scheme that I was going for. I thought that using the track lighting in the greenhouse from the Get to Work expansion pack was pretty fitting, imagining that the lights were hydroponic lights and that they were also helping to feed the plant. So the flooring I used on the roof balcony areas was also from Jungle Adventure, and it's called Distressed Ruins flooring, and I thought it just fit my theme perfectly. I was also really excited to find the awnings for the windows from Jungle Adventure because they matched the roof tiles pretty well. So then I come back to the landscaping and I make the front of the house even more adorable than it already was. And I end up adding a pool out back, which I was really excited to do because it felt like the kind of home that would have a pool, and a pretty large one at that. And I didn't want it to be just a standard pool shape. So I just used 3 different sized squares to make an interesting shape. So I added a whole bunch more decorations here just to make it feel more lived in and personalized. I used a lot of the wall sculpture paintings from Jungle Adventure, and I end up placing an archaeology table so that you could actually play the Jungle Adventure gameplay. I also add the flower arranging table because there's a greenhouse. And they feel like they just go hand in hand to me. And then once more we come back to the landscaping because I felt like it just wasn't done yet. And I do really love how it turned out. Also, you're probably wondering right now, why hasn't he done a bathroom? Oh my god, Well, I don't know why it took me so long to get to the bathroom, but I do include the bathroom footage. That comes in after I finish the last touches of the exterior, and then I just put in some curtains, and then we'll be coming to some screenshots. I hope you have enjoyed my video. Please give it a like and subscribe if you want to see more. I love your feedback so that I can bring you better videos. If you want to download this from the gallery, you can find it under the hashtag #UpdatedSpanishInspired or by searching my gamertag HonestBlack23. Talk to you all again soon. Bye.